Welcome back to another episode, everybody. Yes, One more time. I got to remember with that music that we got to give it just a second. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Truth Seeker podcast, streaming live on Tuesdays around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the YouTube channel, only on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance. Now, if you're catching this on the replay on Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, TuneIn, if you're catching the replay, now you know. You can always catch the live video podcast. Okay, yes, it is video on the YouTube channel Tuesday around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time as well. And always you can catch these replays. That's right. It's not that big of a deal. You'll get the content either way. And we always highly encourage everybody to absolutely bring a pen and paper, okay, or however it is you take notes, because I throw suggestions and tips and things like that out all the time. All right, we are going to dive into how to deal with toxic coworkers in this episode because it corresponds with our course at CHA Academy. Okay, yes, how to deal with toxic coworkers. And these steps, you all, they apply to, dealing with toxic narcissistic abusers in any environment. Okay, tried and true steps. Okay, and I'm going to go into step one, okay, to give you all a preview of what it means by separating your personal and work life. And so how does that apply to in, let's say, the home environment? Okay, you happen to still be in a toxic environment there, okay? You got toxic narcissistic abusers there. And so we're going to give you the tips, things like that, on how you modify those steps to work for whatever your situation is, like concerning the toxic narcissistic abusers in the environment. And so we're going to do a real quick sound check. Okay, there we go. All right, we wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way, and let me go ahead and give a quick announcement, okay, for those who don't know this or those who need a reminder that, I'm going to put a timestamp on it, okay, because it is, okay, yes, excuse me, it is August 8th, 2023. And so all the way to about August 17th, okay, you have until August 17th at midnight. Okay, there you go, Eastern Time. Okay, you all, that's midnight Eastern Time to reserve your spot for CHA's masterclass on how to break that dependency on external validation. That's right. What you'll do is you head on over to the website, okay, because it's on the masterclass is going to be held live with an unlisted YouTube link. That means only those that have that unlisted link are going to be able to attend the live masterclass, and we're only going to stream it through YouTube. Okay, there you go. But what's going to happen is after the fact, okay, that link is going to go inside of CHA Academy, Spiritual Warriors for Christ membership space. That's right. So you'll still be able to, access it either way by becoming a Spiritual Warrior member, okay, member at CHA Academy, or go straight to the website up to August 17th of 2023 at midnight Eastern Time, and you'll click on CHA Master Classes. When you click on that, after you check out, you reserve your spot, I'm going to send you an email with that unlisted link, okay? That way you can attend the live master class. It's going to be around 7 p.m. Eastern Time on August 18th of 2023. Right, that way, those of you that come to listen, you come across this episode in 2025 and you're wondering where it is. Now you know why, because it was in 2023. We have to put timestamps on these things. All right, yeah, to help you all. I've got 5 tried and true tips to give you all. This is not a gimmick. I don't listen at CHA. We don't do what other people do. We don't sit here and tell you all these nice things that you want to hear. Set up some free webinar, tell you all these nice things that you want to hear, and then you get in there and you're like all pumped up, but we don't actually give you don't get the tip that you signed up for. Okay, we don't operate like that. All right, we give you exactly what we are telling you that you're going to get. I have 5 tried and true steps for breaking that dependency on external validation. I'm going to give them to you in that masterclass. Yeah, ain't no gimmick. I'm not gonna sit here and tickle your ears with things that you want to hear. All right, well, you're gonna get what you need, right, to overcome those trauma triggers. And breaking the dependency on external validation is huge. Okay, that is the way. That's the only way. Because the other thing God revealed to me real quick, you all, we're going to dive into it. I'm going to get into step 1 with how to deal with toxic coworkers in just a second, but it's on my spirit. And so when God let me know, he said that I know I wrote it down somewhere, that the dependency on external validation keeps people trauma bonded to the world, you all, and dependent on all things external. All right, we're going to break more of all of that down also in the master class as well. Okay, because I'm going to talk about how the feedback system, okay, yes, you all, the need for feedback, that feedback system, how it plays a huge role in developing a dependency on external validation, right? Keeping people walking by sight and not by faith, right? And dependent on all things external rather than the Godhead on the inside, dependent on the internal, okay, the spirit on the inside of you. All right, yes, dependent on God only. Okay, there you go. All right, so we're going to cover quite a bit in that masterclass. So y'all can sign up, reserve your spot, CDHRWDRMD.org. Again, if you go to the navigation drop-down menu, you will see CHA Masterclasses. And again, you have till August 17th of 2023 to reserve your spot. All right, everybody. And there are no limitations, okay, because the way that we've got it hosted up, we don't have how there's some platforms that only allow, like if I were to use StreamYard, I would have to reserve no more than 10 spots because that's the only allowable number of people that can be in there at one time. But we're not doing it that way for that reason. We want those of you who want to break that dependency on external validation, come on in. All right, come on over. We're going to help you with that. Because myself and many others out here are living testimonies that you can do that. Absolutely. When you know that God is the only validation that you need, oh, yeah. All right. Once you know that, that's it. Yeah, that's another game over for the enemy. Okay, you all. So there you go. All right. Step number 1 that I offer everybody for how to deal with toxic coworkers. Okay. And then I'm going to modify it for one. We'll see where the Holy Spirit goes. Okay, but I do know we want to get to the home environment because that's a common one for many survivors of narcissistic abuse. Okay, is that inside that home environment, it can take a little while before God delivers us out from under that. So we're going to talk work, okay? Because I will go ahead and tell y'all the course How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers at CHAacademybtbw.com is set up for employers as well if they want to go ahead and add that simple, okay, you all, it is simplified. Okay, if they wanted to add that to their training package, it's set up as such. That's why you will see a quiz in there, but you can take it as many times as you need to pass. Okay, yeah, that it's set up in that way because of the employer aspect. So if any employers out there are wanting to have their employees take a little additional training for how to deal with toxic coworkers, if you've identified a couple of them in the workplace, there's tried and true ways on how to deal with it to keep the work environment stable, okay, and more productive, okay, seriously. So that's what it's set up in that way, but it's not complicated at all. Right? And step number 1 that I offer is how to keep your work and personal lives separate. Right? And I also clarify that now for this is on the individual level here. Okay. So you may have to tell your boss a couple of things like, okay, a family thing came up, a school function came up, stuff like that for scheduling purposes. But I'm here to tell you, and many others can attest to this, as far as myself being in a management position before, yes, you all, I have held many management positions as well. And so when I was in charge of making the schedule. All I wanted to know was, okay, you need this time off for, okay, family function. Got it. That's it. We didn't need to know nothing else because, to be honest with you all, when we're in management position and even now as a CEO, let me tell you, we don't have time to listen to all the whys and all that, okay? This kind of helps us learn later on that we don't need to tell too much information. You see what I'm saying? We learn not to offer up information that's not asked for. Okay, now I know there's a flip side to it because narcissistic abusers are very, very nosy. So toxic coworkers may try to poke and prod, but you'll be able to pick up when they're trying to do that and how you deal with it. Okay, it's just, yeah, you learn not to react or respond. Okay, that's a big one. Okay, it takes a while, it takes practice, just like everything in trauma healing and spiritual growth. It takes time and practice, but just know that you'll tell the boss, the manager, whatever, whoever's in charge of scheduling, why you need that time off, and then we leave it at that. All right, so that could be a good practice point right there for those of us listening. Chosen ones, I get it. We're sociable people, right? We used to be. We become a lot more reserved when we get into God's reality and we grow and mature. I'll tell you that, okay? There's a lot of us out here that can attest to that as well, is that it's all part of the maturing process that we have to go through to put away childish things and overcome that. Okay, we were always very verbal and very open and I would say bubbly to an extent until we realized that we were being persecuted through all that narcissistic abuse. So we realized that, okay, you know what, we have to learn how to deal with it. See, this is where you get to in the spiritual awakening, okay, and God's reality. It gets to that point where you go, okay, when you get to that radical acceptance, remember the top 10 trauma healing tips. And we are going to cover those again. You all, yes, we are. We're going to cover those again going forward as well. And in fact, that one comes in here as that radical acceptance, okay? And I'm talking about a live video that we did on our YouTube channel and at Facebook. And we also did some troubleshooting with the audio during that top 10 trauma healing tips. So you'll hear some funkiness going on, but you can still get the information. Again, though, we are going to cover those again, okay? Just so you know. And I've got to go do something real quick. Yep. I just saw something. Yep, I sure did. And so it's a good thing, too, because it reminds me that I need to, that's right, disconnect from Wi-Fi on this device. I didn't even realize that. Okay. Because I made sure I was not connected there. Remember, y'all, we learned something about that. Okay, now back to it. All right, that's step one. Okay, you get to that radical acceptance. Okay, that trauma healing. Okay, that step where you get to that radical acceptance, right? Okay, this is where they've come in. Because now you got to go, how do we deal with these toxic narcissistic abusers? Because they're here, right? You get to that point, you're like, all right, and you got to go to work. For many of you, listen, you are already in your calling. If you're in a job that you love, and the narcissistic abusers in that workplace, they know that you love your job. Well, of course, they're going to poke and prod because what does the devil like to do? That's right, like to target the things that we love. Okay? Yes, like to target the things that we love. He wants to separate us from the things that we love. Think about it. Okay, the devil wants to separate us from the things that we love, right? And he does that, to these narcissistic abusers, right? He gets them to hate themselves. I know hate, not necessarily the opposite of love, but you have two things that are the opposite of love, and that is fear and hate, okay? There's two things that are the opposite of love, okay? And it is hate and fear, because they go hand in hand. A lot of times, if they're living in fear, then that means they got some hate for something. They got the demon of hate about something or other. Okay, yeah. That's the way it is. And through months and years of observation with these narcissistic abusers, yes. Okay. All right. So I appreciate y'all's patience as I just noticed that the Wi-Fi screen did what it did, but it is what it is. All right. Anyhow. Yeah. We always do a couple of sound checks making sure everything's still running as it should. I got to do it this way, all right, because it's just the way it is. All right, but separating that work and personal. All right, that in the workplace is what I was talking about. You don't want to divulge TMI, which is too much information. In other words, if it's not asked, okay, then it's not. Narcissistic abusers, these toxic coworkers. All right, listen, they never outgrow the show and tell season of their lives. Remember, I'm in elementary school and maybe a little bit later on too. They would have you bring stuff, right? Show and tell at school. Okay. Well, these narcs never outgrow that. And it's because of their nosiness in nature. Okay. They will still hold on to that show and tell aspect of their toddler like mindset. Okay. Because they feel like it, yeah, it's crazy making. I know, but they never get past that. And they feel like they're entitled to know all of your business. Remember, they have that is the mindset. They have the entitlement mindset. So this is a lot of the why behind them doing what they do is because of that entitlement mindset. They feel like they are entitled to your personal business. No, they are not. Okay, this is where you set the record straight. This is where you will learn how to implement the boundaries and enforce them. For example, I'm going to go ahead and share with you all. God revealed to me another boundary I had to put up, and that is that all individual sessions must be booked through the website. No exception. Okay? Now, mind you, there is one tiny one, and that has to do with time zones. Okay? That's the only exception. But the sessions still get booked through the website. What the exception can be is that, okay, if you are in Australia, right, you're on a different time zone, we tell y'all, go ahead and book the spot, keep the spot, and we will communicate via email to work out the time, okay, because it won't be at that time if we're on different, if you're like 14 hours ahead, we're going to have to work that out, but you still book through the website, okay, but we do the workaround as far as negotiating the best time for both of us, okay, because I'm located in the United States. So that's how we do it. And it works out just fine. But the sessions have got to be booked through the website. That's it. Okay. Because I realized that, yeah, case study was trying to get special treatment. That's right. And not only that, that was the enemy, because the enemy doesn't want to drive traffic to the website. You understand? You see, that's what the enemy was trying to do. Okay. I'm not stupid, y'all. Y'all ain't stupid. Chosen ones, God revealed the truth to you when you're ready for them. And so we had to put our foot down, and that's that. So for whoever needed that one, that's that. So if you try to DM me and you want a session outside and you don't book through the website, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Had to be booked through the website. All right. We have 5 different, sessions available, individual. And individual sessions are available for any combination of up to 2 people. Okay. So I want to give you all that as an example to help you put it in perspective, keeping work and personal separate, okay? And setting boundaries, right? That was a setting boundary example, okay? Because what happened if you get too personal with this toxic person? What happened? God tells us, that we've got to stay away from them lest we become like them, right? Because that's what they want. These toxic narcissistic abusers want us to be turned into one of them. Well, I'm here to tell you, true blue chosen one, God chosen children, that's not going to happen anyway, because we get that heightened awareness, right? Getting that clarity. We're learning how to put our foot down, hold steadfast with the Lord. Yes, because we know that the righteous are bold as a lion. And this is just one of many ways that the righteous are bold as a lion, by putting that foot down and not divulging too much personal stuff anymore with the, once you've identified a red flag, that's all you need, right? Okay. You identified the fact that they are a toxic coworker and they don't get your personal information. It's none of their business. And yes, you can tell them that too. Absolutely. I've done it. Yes. One of the toxic workplaces. Absolutely. Oh, they won't like it. Oh, his face got so red, but it's too bad. It's too bad for the enemy. Like, too bad. Because once we know that we're dealing with a toxic coworker, a narcissistic abuser, then we know that we don't tell them nothing. No personal business, because for always is data for ammunition to abuse you later, or even right then and there. Okay, so we get that in our mind. We realize, you know what? Okay, so let's say that a job that you love and you're good at it, you're passionate about it. That's your calling. Okay, that's what God calls you to do. If you love it, okay, if you're enjoying it and it's helping others, whatever. Listen, that's your calling, right? Well, the enemy wants to keep as many people away from their calling, God's calling on their life. Yeah, never forget that. So that's what he's trying to do, using these toxic coworkers to try and get you to quit that job that happened to be your calling. Well, you got the power and authority on the inside of you to not let that happen. And that's one of the many ways you do that, and to keep work and personal separate. So the tip I offer inside that course, how to deal with toxic coworkers at CHAcademybtbw.com, is that you just basically keep it work related, right? If you have to have, I mean, obviously you work with them, so you're going to have some interaction, right? But you are the one that gets to decide how often and the type, right? Yes, you do. Okay. Depending on what it is. Right. And then if they try to do small talk, I know chosen ones don't like small talk. We understand that, but sometimes you're going to have to utilize it. Right. You are, because we are peacekeepers. You're not walking on eggshells. No, because you realize you do not have any reason to be afraid of the toxic coworker. No. Right. We do not have to be afraid of the ball. He's just a teeny weeny little toddler running around with his tail between his legs. Okay. Yeah. So now once we realize that, we're like, oh, and never forget, because you can pretty much just blow on him and he falls over, right? Okay. See, yeah, no reason to be afraid of the enemy at all. Okay, but that's what he wants, because it gives him that illusion of power and control if he can get people, and he does. He's got narcissistic abusers are the ones living in fear of the devil. Think about it. They don't even realize a lot of them claiming to be Christians. They're worshiping the devil and not the Heavenly Father. See, they don't realize that. Right? And so that's why we learn. We have to learn how to deal with them, right? So that you keep your job and keep doing your calling, because that your calling is what pleases God. When you are in your calling, you are working your purpose. That's what pleases God. And so the enemy is always going to be disobedient to God, right? Okay, well, so are these toxic narcissistic abusers. Okay, so that's the one top step. Okay, I know it's the first step, and everybody will be like, huh? Because the fifth step is to get more educated about narcissism and the abuse. A lot of people would think they should go the other way, and I'm like, no, because the moment you realize in that workplace, and then in any environment too, we're going to get to the next example I have in the home for you all here in just a second, but in the workplace, because here's the thing, remember, God revealed the narcissistic abuser on the individual level first, and for many of us, and then he starts to reveal it in the workplace, okay? Because he's preparing us to accept the fact, true blue chosen one, spiritual warrior for Christ, he's preparing us to be able to more easily accept the fact that we got them in our own families, okay? That's what it is. He had to do it that way. That way, once we get back, once he sends us back out, that's right, as sheep in the midst of wolves, right? When God does that, we'll already have been past several acceptance phases, right? So then it's like, okay, at that point out in public, we no longer dismiss, okay, what God revealed. We no longer turn a blind eye to it. We don't, make excuses for it. If we see someone acting narcissistic, if you will, we see someone doing that, or, just letting out their out there. Yeah, we don't ignore it. We don't make excuses for it anymore. It just lets us know exactly what team they are on, and we'll know that it's not Team Godhead. Okay, so all right, that is what we do. Okay, now how do you keep your work and personal life separate in the home? Okay, this is where we basically, it's another side of moving in silence. Okay, so really, by doing that, okay, keeping these things separate, right, and doing it consciously and intentionally, okay? Yeah, you have to do it with intention, right? Remember, God is a God of intention. He's not the author of confusion, okay? He does things with intention, okay? A purpose, right? There you go. Everything has our purpose has a purpose, okay? Oh yeah. Right. So in the home, how do you do that? Well, you simply do a similar thing that you do, like you're not divulging any more personal business to the toxic coworkers, right? Okay, same thing in the home. It's not that we're, we're not walking on eggshells or anything like that. We are simply being more mindful of what we do inside the home with the toxic narcissistic abusers. Okay, and a lot of times there's going to be more than one. So if that's the case, moving in silence, okay, is the best way to deal with them, especially in the home. And same concept about small talk. They'll talk about the weather, okay? And a lot of times, the reason we learn to do this very minimal interaction with them in that environment is because we know at some point, if we try to say something positive, right? Like, hey, it's a beautiful day out. They're going to come back at you with, yeah, well, I'll bet it insert negative thing here. Okay, that's how they are. So we learned that, we don't want to hear none of that no more, right? So we're not even going to give them the holy things, right? Don't be casting no pearls before swine, right? So that we know it's a beautiful day. We have that conversation with God. Okay, that's it. Okay, and then fellow chosen one. Okay, there you go. We can, but it takes a while. So if you're in a home environment, take those same concepts, modify them. Okay, and you're not sharing, like in the workplace, you're not sharing your personal, you're not sharing your home life, right? Okay, so you take that concept home, right, and you're not sharing, don't share nothing going on at work with them either. Okay, because toxic narcissistic abusers, boy, what do they love to do the most? That's right, they love to gossip. They love that juicy gossip. That's what they live for. It feeds their adrenaline addiction. Okay, they love that juicy gossip. So if you're having any kind of, and not only that, it gives them pleasure in the home. If you're experiencing any kind of, let's just say, discomfort or issues, you know what I'm saying? If you're experiencing something in the workplace that's not positive, oh, the narcissistic abusers in the home, oh, they're gonna love to eat that up. Okay, so that's why we learn that's all part of keeping it separate, right? And then also keeping our personal and home life separate at home if the toxic environment happens to be there too. Right? It's all a process. I do not recommend y'all try to do all of that at the same time. You got to start with one. Okay, so if your biggest issue happens to be the workplace, start there. If the bigger issue happens to be in the home, start there. However it is, but don't try to do both at the same time. All right, seriously. Why we encourage you all to have the note-taking preferences, whatever it is, all right? Ready, so that you can jot this stuff down and then come back and rewatch and get these tips and the points and things that you need, because they're going to eat up on all things negative, because that is what they feed on, all things negative. Okay, so we don't divulge in the home. We don't divulge what we're working on either. Okay, God has us working on projects and things like that. We don't share that with them in the home. Okay, again, same concept of us not sharing our personal business in the toxic workplace. Okay, and then not at home where there are toxic narcissistic abusers there. Okay, you all. So it takes practice, seriously, right? And always don't hesitate to reach out if you've got any questions. All right, but you can always go and learn more, okay, about the course, How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers, at CHAAcademyBTBW.com. I just gave you a little bit of an example of how you can take those concepts and modify them to make it work if the home happens to be a toxic environment as well. So you're able to deal with it. And that reduces your stress levels. That's right. And that keeps your mind calmer so that you can hear God's instruction. And so you're not getting your spiritual energy drained, okay? Because long-winded, drawn-out conversation with these narcissistic abusers, we learn the way we protect our spiritual energy is minimal interaction with them as possible. And then if we can get away with not interacting with them at all, yay, kudos. Oh, man. Yeah, it's even better when we don't have to interact with them at all. right? But if we must have some, we just be mindful, okay? Be mindful and, deliberate, and don't allow them to come rushing at you to take away your time to think logically, okay? You don't have to allow them to do that. We learn not to let them. If they're trying to come at us with something, trying to overwhelm us with something, we learn to step back and go, hold up a second. It's part of how we tell them no. Okay, that's one of the other steps. Okay, learning how to tell them no. They don't like it, but they don't have a choice at that point. Once we catch on to who they are and what they are, they do not have a choice. When we say no, no means no, and they know that we're speaking with conviction, and they know that that's the Holy Spirit speaking and not us. Never forget that. Okay, so we basically push back against it, but in a peaceful way. All right, with overcoming evil with good is the theme. Okay, that's right. Overcoming evil with good is the theme for that course, How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers. And never forget, the 5P coaching course has a theme as well. That, yes, we're not to sit on our talents and gifts, right? Our gifts make room for us. Okay, you all? So just to give you a little glimpse of that. So don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. The contact information is on the website at CDHRWDRMD.org. Yes, the business email and the business phone. The business phone does accept text messages, and I highly encourage you all, if you're going to send a text to the business number, let me know who you are, where you learned about CHA via the podcast, via the YouTube channel, website search, whatever. Let me know how you found our content, and who, and then let me. I'm not going to answer. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to answer what I know to be word salad and things like that, because those who seriously and truly want help, you know, okay, and I don't know. All right, seriously. So, and we'll take it from there. I always encourage people to send a text first, so we can set up a time to chat if you want to have a brief call. Okay, so that way we will work out a time. All right, always send a text first to see what would be the best time, or an email. Okay, either way. All right, everybody. So that concludes this episode of the Truth Seeker podcast. All right, can give y'all some tips and helpful information and some reminders and all of that. All right, you all. So I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Truth Seeker podcast. Yes, streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, and later on across other podcast platforms. There you go for the replay. And you can always find all the different podcast platforms on the CHA's Truth Seeker podcast link on the website, again at CDHRWDRMD.org. All right, everybody, sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching and for your support. Until next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.